Assalamu alaikum class. I wish that all of you are well and safe in your homes inshallah. Lecture 36 of our course Signals and Systems concludes chapter 4. This is going to be a short lecture as it covers just one article, 4.7 of your book. This article is about systems characterized by linear constant coefficient differential equations. When we studied linear constant coefficient differential equations or LCCD equations in chapter 2, we discussed that it is important to know how to solve such equations because these equations can be used to represent a large variety of physical systems. A large variety of systems, physical systems in any field can be modeled by such equations. We used LCCD equations to model LTI systems. We discussed that an LTI system can be given through three different ways, can be described through three different ways. One was an input and output relationship, the other was the impulse response, and the third was through a linear constant coefficient differential equation. So, a typical LCCD equation can be given as shown on the slide, where we always use coefficients AK for the output terms or the Y terms and coefficients BK for the input terms or the X terms. We also know that for an LTI system, the input-output relationship is given by Y of t is H of t convolved by X of t. So if we take Fourier transform on both sides of the equation, we have Y of j omega is equal to H of j omega multiplied by X of j omega, and we'll be assuming that H of t, the LTI system, does have an impulse frequency response. The impulse response is absolutely summable, it's a stable system, and it does have a frequency response. So the frequency response of the LTI system is, we take H of j omega on one side, so it becomes Y of j omega by X of j omega. Now similarly, we will take the Fourier transform of the linear constant coefficient differential equation such that we can have H of j omega from this expression. Now since Fourier transform is a linear operation, the constant coefficients AK and BK are taken outside the Fourier transform operator. So now applying the time differentiation property, the Fourier transform for this equation comes out to be the factor j of omega is multiplied with Y of j omega and X of j omega for each derivative. So for kth derivative, we will be having j of omega k raised to the power k on either side. It must be noticed that the order of the output terms or Y terms is n, and the order of the input terms or X is m, and n is not equal to m generally. So now we form the expression for frequency response. For that, we take out Y of j omega and X of j omega out of the summation sign and just let the k terms remain inside the summation sign. Finally, taking the ratio, we have frequency response H of j omega, which is equal to Y of j omega by X of j omega, which is equal to k varies from 0 to m, bk multiplied by jk, and these are all sum terms, and in the denominator we have summation ak j omega raised to the power k. Now if we look at this expression, and we compare it with Laplace transform of what we learned in lecture 23, we'll see that this expression is similar to what we derived from the Laplace transform. We have a summation of terms in the numerator and we have a summation of terms in the denominator, where the terms in the numerator come from the input and the terms from the for the denominator come from the output. So we can write the frequency response directly by observing the LCCD equation. Now this h of j omega can be used to define the to determine the output given any input, or it can be used to solve the LCCD equation given certain conditions. Now we will be using Fourier transform to solve a linear constant coefficient differential equation. This is example 4.26 from your textbook. Now we have to determine the response y of t for a stable LTI system that is characterized by the differential equation. This condition stability is mentioned because if it was not mentioned, we didn't know whether we could determine h of j omega or not. But now that we know that the system is stable, so we can determine h of j omega. The input x of t is e to the power minus t u of t. Now the solution of this expression is similar. The steps following will be similar to how we solved LCCD equation through the Laplace transform. So the frequency response is we can write it directly from this equation by taking Fourier transform on both sides. We remember that the coefficients for the input come in the numerator. So for this first derivative we have j omega, and for this x of t we just have 1. So this is the coefficient comes here 2 into 1. Similarly, the coefficients for the output come in the denominator. So we have highest power 2. So we have j omega square plus 4 into single derivative is j omega plus 3 for the constant term. Now the output y of j omega is a product of h of j omega and x of j omega. You will be given tables 4.1 and 4.2 or the required formulae in your exams when you are solving such questions. So we know we have frequently used such an expression e to the power minus t u of t in different examples throughout this chapter, and we know that the Fourier transform of such an expression is 1 by j omega plus 1. So we multiply both h of j omega and x of j omega and we get this expression. Now to determine y of t, we have to decompose this expression into partial fractions so that we can take an inverse transform by inspection. So y of j omega is a11 by 1 plus j omega plus a12 by j omega plus 1 whole square plus a21 by j omega plus 3. Now these coefficients are being used by your book. You can take a, b, c, x, y, z, any coefficient you like. But we know that when we have repeated roots, the partial fraction expansion takes a form like this. So once we solve these coefficients, we get a11 is 1 by 4, a12 is 1 by 2, and a21 is minus 1 by 4. Y of j omega is 1 by 4 by j omega plus 1. We are substituting the values plus 1 by 2 by j omega plus 1 whole square minus 1 by 4 by j omega plus 3. So we take the inverse Fourier transform by comparison through the tables, through the properties, and we get y of t is equal to 1 by 4 e to the power minus t plus 1 by 2 t e to the power minus t minus 1 by 4 e to the power minus 3t into u of t. So let's summarize the steps for determining the response given a linear constant coefficient differential equation through using the Fourier transform. Whenever we will be given an LCCDE equation, first of all we'll determine the frequency response. In the next step we'll multiply the frequency response with the input and we will get y of j omega, and in the third step or with the intermediate step, now we have to determine the inverse Fourier transform to determine y of t by inspection. So for the inverse Fourier transform we might be needing partial fraction expansion. Whenever we have a second order system, you will always be needing. For a first order system you might not need, but for a second order system you'll always be needing a partial fraction expansion. So you'll break down the products into sums and you'll take the inverse Fourier transform by inspection. The procedure for solving this is same as the Laplace transform, so we'll be not doing many examples. This method has a disadvantage, or this method can be applied under certain conditions, which will be seen in the next slide. So as I mentioned on the previous slide, the method of solving an LCCDE through Fourier transform has certain limitations. So the first limitation is that systems with non-zero initial conditions cannot be directly analyzed with Fourier transform. If the system has initial conditions, we have no way to incorporate those in the Fourier transform expression. Furthermore, handling of the frequency variable j omega is relatively more difficult. So Laplace transform is preferable for system analysis. We saw in lecture 24 that Laplace transform acted as a very powerful tool because we were able to determine the zero input response and the zero state response, which is the initial condition solution and the particular solution, and a Laplace transform was able to determine the complete solution of a LCCD equation. So Laplace transform is generally a more often used method for solving such an equation. Also, we discussed when we started Laplace transform and when we started the chapter on Fourier transform that Laplace transform is more of a system analysis tool. So an LCCDE is basically an output to an LTI system, or it describes an LTI system. So whenever you are using system analysis or whenever you're solving the systems, you tend to use Laplace transform more often. However, if you want to do the frequency analysis of a system, for example, you want to see whether a particular LCCD equation representing the system and how is that system behaving, whether the system is acting as a low pass filter, a high pass filter, or a band pass filter. In that way you plot the frequency response of the system and you can analyze the behavior of the system. However, at the end, there are certain ways the difficulty of handling the frequency variable can be resolved, because eventually when you be studying DSP, you will be seeing that all the Fourier analysis converges to a term known as DFT, discrete Fourier transform, and which can be solved through efficient computer algorithms known as FFT. So using fast algorithms on the computer, one can do it digitally. One can solve such equations digitally. Finally, the numericals. Practice the concepts learned in today's lecture. You have to solve problems 4.32, 4.33, 3.4 and 3.6 of your textbook. Problem 4.2 is an interesting one. I have not given many examples for today's lecture because similar concepts have been done by us many times. But in case you encounter any problems while solving these numericals, you're most welcome to text me, call me, email me, and I'll be responding to you. This concludes our chapter 4 on continuous time Fourier transform. From next week, we'll be starting chapter 5, which is the final chapter for our course, Signals and Systems. I wish you all the best. Happy learning. Allah Hafiz.